In fact, it has always been a challenge to ensure easy availability of credit to MSMEs. The reason being, as you are aware, many of the MSMEs are working in a space in a very unorganized environment. So for a lender, it's very important to have all the information in a particular system. So for a long time, bankers have been finding this challenge of coping with the information asymmetry. This has been set right to a greater extent, after the GST implementation. Now we have something to capture, and a lot of enablers have come to actually understand the financials, which will come in handy for a borrower and a lender. So this has always been a challenge, and it has been addressed to a greater extent. We have platforms like PSB 59 loans, which would actually help the bankers to interface with all the information sites, the GST information, the CIC information. So, so now slowly, we are getting in an environment where this information asymmetry is addressed. So the second situation has been, which has been actually made worse by the COVID situation, is that the supply side problems and the demand side problems, which the MSMEs are facing. Because earlier the MSMEs were facing stiff competition from, the products from China. So now, of course, the situation is different, but then the demand is a situation that is a problem in the current COVID situation, and supply chain as well. Of course, during this time, there are MSMEs which are thriving, particularly who are into healthcare sectors. Like there are MSMEs who are producing PPEs and whatever is required, whichever are in the pharmaceuticals, they are doing well. And many are not doing well. So from the point of view of, how bankers can help the MSMEs to improve the situation, is that to make use of the platforms like PSB 59, which is available, and also have systems in place to capture the cash flows, capture the business performance, and provide easy access to the credit through technology. Yeah, let me put to context. Union Bank, as you are aware, now is an amalgamated entity. It's now the fifth largest public sector bank. We have three entities: the Union Bank, Corporation Bank, and Andhra Bank, coming together with its own strengths and synergies. So now we have even reorganized our structure. We have clear-cut business verticals with vertical heads with responsibilities, and this verticalization has also led us into giving more focus into the sector. So if I cite MSMEs, so we have now recently concluded our strategy meeting post amalgamation, and we have envisioned, we have set out a vision for our MSME function, which is given very important thrust, particularly in the current situation. That we would like to become the bank of first choice for MSMEs. Like if MSMEs would like to have any banking need or financial need, they should think about Union Bank. So how do we work towards that? So we are working on three areas. One is attractiveness, that how we can make Union Bank attractive to MSMEs through its products which are competitive and customized for them. Second, responsiveness, how Union Bank can be more responsive in comparison to others in terms of addressing the problems and needs of MSMEs, and how fast we can respond to their problems and complaints. So this is another area. And the third area which we are focusing is on improving our outreach competency. Now, if you compare with private sector banks, public sector banks are lacking this outreach competency. So we are consciously trying to build a force. We have selected branches which are mapped to industrial estates. We call it MSME focused branches, and we are strengthening them with the outreach teams, which would be singularly looking at, reaching out to the MSMEs and then exploring the business potential. So this is how we are going to position ourselves for MSME. This is the kind of thrust the bank is going to give for MSMEs. And the current situation, if you look at it, see, ever since the PCA and all those things came, the large corporates were kept aside, and then slowly the banks were concentrating on what we used to call ARM lending or RAM lending, where retail, MSME, and agriculture were given the thrust. So among these RAM, MSME is gaining more importance. Now, if you look at the COVID situation, there is not much of retail happening. There is not much. Of course, agriculture is there. MSMEs are getting the thrust. If you look at the Atmanirbhar package of the government, you will find that MSMEs are, and of course, rightly so, because MSMEs are the drivers of the economy. And for us also, we see it as a big opportunity for banking. Ultimately, we have to lend. And if you look at MSMEs, ultimately the entrepreneurs are the people who have come to the space with, taking a risk and to create a value. And we need to do whatever it takes to support them. And because today's MSMEs are tomorrow's large corporates, if they do well. So we need to look into that context. And for the growth of the bank also, we need to look at that way. So Union Bank would like to come as a winner in this space. We are having a vision which I've told my team also that it is something which is achievable considering the strengths and synergies of the amalgamation that is available now. Okay. And another thing is that we are going to come out with products which are customized. We are looking at each segments, understanding the needs. All the segments might be having a different kind of an operating cycle or whatever liquidity needs or this. And accordingly, we will work out something which is customized to them. We will try to reach out to them where they need us instead of they chasing us. So this is the kind of paradigm shift that we would like to build for our MSME. See, I would like to say that this is one of the very positive initiatives taken by the government. The collateral-free loans available. See, this is for the existing borrowers. And see, we have to look at this way. If we don't take this initiative to help them at this time, these are the same borrowers who are going to have a problem coming days, and this will turn into NPAs, and it's going to create a problem for us. So now we have a scheme, which is a structured scheme provided by the government, which is guaranteed by the government. So it is an opportunity for us. In fact, as I was telling, see, if we look at what can we do right now as bankers, what is the business that we can do during lockdown? See, we have to support the existing borrowers. We have to look into the existing business. This is not the time that we can really reach out and do the business in the way we used to do before, pre-lockdown kind of situation. The movement restrictions are there. Outreach restrictions are there. So at least let us look at the existing borrowers and then find out what are the problems they are going through, how we can help them. And this, the structured scheme that we are offering is something which can help them to come out with their liquidity problems. And I don't see it as a major problem for lending per se, because we know the borrowers. It is our existing borrowers. So due diligence is already taken care of. And there are many in this who have the structural strength to sustain. Many in them have not even opted for this. They have decided to cope up with their liquidity positions with the kind of accruals that they are having. So while we are saying that 3 lakh crores, many of them have not even opted for this, because ultimately it is a borrowing decision. It is at a cost, though we are giving at a very competitive rate, considering the lesser cost of capital, considering the zero risk weight assigned to this particular package. So we are giving at a competitive rate, yet we find a lot of people not opting for this. Yet many people are having a calibrated approach of availing what is sanctioned. So and when probably the number was estimated for 3 lakh crores, it was on a particular parameters. How many borrowers would qualify this particular parameters, So number has been estimated as 3 lakh crores. But then when we look at the ground reality, there are many of the borrowers who are, especially the micro level, where this wouldn't work as a remunerative thing if you consider the documentation and the stamp duties in some states. So it doesn't work out to be remunerative for them. So they are opting out. So wherever possible, we have ensured that we are reaching out to them and offering this, because today if we offer them, it will help them to come out of the liquidity problems that they are facing, and tomorrow they will be in a position to sustain themselves. And already we are seeing some green shoots. So I believe that it is a very beneficial package, and we tell our branches, this is a time that probably this is the only thing that we can do right now actively to reach out to our borrowers, to connect with them, so that they also feel that the bankers are with me during this hour of crisis, and they are offering the help. So we are seeing it as an opportunity, and from here, from MSMEs, we get retail business also. So I would see it as a very encouraging initiative given by the. See, nobody knew about this kind of a situation. Not a single risk modeling technique would have, predicted this kind of a situation. There is no visibility for anyone. I mean, let alone bankers, even the policymakers. Nobody is having a visibility, even in the short run, what is going to happen. Though there are green shoots now seen here and there, and we are getting some positive news about vaccines and treatments also, but a clear visibility is not there. What is going to happen. So in this kind of a situation, risk modeling and all this, one must understand that we must accept this new normal. We must have to be more realistic than theoretical at this time. Looking at if I look at all the traditional risk rating model, I can easily go and downgrade everyone. The external rating agencies can downgrade all borrowers, and then finally bankers will all be running for capital. There will be a huge challenge on capital. So therefore, we need to be realistic. We need to accept certain things. As a ground reality, what is in control of the promoters, what is not in the control of the promoters in the given situation, and how much of risk acceptance we need to, we need to upgrade. We need to be more practical, because it should be considered as a more of a standstill kind of a situation where, of course, after this we are making a new beginning. So therefore, more practical, pragmatic approach to help out borrowers, to tide over their liquidity crisis, to tide over the solvency problems. So these are the things which we need to look at bankers, to have more practical approach, considering their, credit history, not jumping into conclusion as to what is the present situation. We need to take a broader approach, and which we are doing also. Now, even before this schemes were announced, Atmanirbhar packages were announced, our bank has taken initiatives in having a flexible approach towards lending. We have given an emergency credit line to the borrowers. We have given we have taken lending decisions by having a flexible approach in working capital assessment, for a liberalized working capital assessment, so on and so forth. So we have tried to be more flexible to meet the requirements of the borrowers right now. But if we go by the traditional theoretical model, we will not be able to lend to a single borrower right now, because except for the ones who are thriving in sectors, for example, of healthcare, where, of course, this is a health crisis. So whichever industries are doing good, of course, they may be doing well. Otherwise, if you look at, there are many sectors which we can't even venture into. But considering their credit history, considering the future prospects, considering the realities, like what is in their control, what is not in their control, we need to take a flexible approach. Yeah, let me tell you, post amalgamation, now we have just come out of a fresh strategy session, with a clear-cut vision as to how we should go about. Now digital is the new reality. And if you look at, we have entered a new decade, and by the end of this decade, how the things are going to be, it is going to be digital. So we are aspiring that, at the same time, we have legacy issues. We can't, overnight turn ourselves into a digital bank. But we are aspiring to have a digital bank within our own traditional model where both of them can coexist. And MSME is an area where we are leading from the front in digitalizing. In fact, another enabler for us is the EASE 3.0 agenda of the PSB reforms agenda of the government, which is in alignment with our vision, where there are clear-cut action points as to what all things we need to do so that we are best in the industries as far as the processes are concerned. How we can digitalize, how we can make the credit access easily easily available for the MSMEs. How we can ensure that the MSMEs at the press of a button can access to credit access through digital solutions available. We have already started working on it, and we are hopeful of going live in a very short period. We are coming out with various digital solutions, and another reality that we have to that this is the time of collaborating and competing. So we need to understand that fintechs have a big role to play in the current ecosystem. So we have already initiated steps to have partnership with fintechs, and we would like to strengthen that. We want to expand that, and with that, we would like to leverage technology. As such, let me inform you, Union Bank was one of the pioneers in putting in place a technology-driven process-led credit delivery for MSMEs. We call it SARL. So we have SARLs across most of the regions now, and we have taken it as a different vertical altogether to strengthen and revamp and ensure that all the regional offices are doing the lending through technology and process-led mechanisms. And the day is not far when we can centralize the entire process of credit. So we are working on that. So we are going to use digitalization as a competence. Yes. In fact, as I mentioned, we have already tied up with a couple of fintechs for different solutions. And we are already in the process of tying up with a very prestigious management institution, which has an incubation center. I can even name it, it's IIM Bangalore. And then through them, we are trying to collaborate with many fintechs, who have shown a lot of promise. In fact, a couple of them have already put in place some systems, and some banks have already started working on it. And we are going to very actively participate in that. And we will be doing further types. We are always on the watch for an opportunity to collaborate and compete with fintechs. Certainly. In fact, if you look at erstwhile Corporation Bank or erstwhile Andhra Bank, and even Union Bank, the anchor bank, most of them had a very strong MSME franchise. And Union Bank in particular, they, as I mentioned, was pioneer in initiating the process-led centralized processes for credit delivery for MSMEs, and all those were done with MSME as the focus, not for any large borrowers or anything like that. So interestingly, the initiatives were all taken for MSMEs. Now in Andhra Bank, as far as Andhra Bank is concerned, if you look at Andhra Pradesh, we are having such a, after post amalgamation, we have such a big strength. At least 1 out of 5 persons would be banking with Andhra Bank. That is a kind of envious position that we have. So that kind of strength we are going to leverage for and Andhra Bank traditionally have been a great performer in mudra loans. So that comes to us as an advantage. Now the new schemes that have come, Swanidhi, with the street vendors, Atmanirbhar fund and all. So in Andhra Pradesh, we have already taken early lead in comparison to any bank. So that speaks of the advantage that has come to us, from various banks. So certainly this amalgamation is very promising for the sector, and that for that very reason that MSME is carved out as a vertical and with an intention to strengthen it. and to be as a leader among all the other verticals in pioneering initiatives.